That day I stopped explaining myself. There comes a day when silence speaks louder than any explanation. Welcome, this is Mended Mirror, where we reflect, mend, heal, and rise. It didn't happen all at once. There was no argument, no final straw. Just one quiet morning when I realized I was done explaining myself. For so long, I lived like I was on trial. Every word, every choice, every silence, always followed by an explanation. I explained my kindness so it wouldn't be mistaken for weakness. I explained my boundaries so they wouldn't sound like rejection. I explained my distance so it wouldn't be called pride. I even explained my peace as though I owned proof for my own calm. And the more I explained, the smaller I became. Each explanation felt like handing away a small piece of peace, hoping someone would finally understand me. But somehow, they never did. Some people listened only to reply, not to understand. Some were committed to misunderstanding me because my growth made them uncomfortable. And some just didn't care to see beyond their vision of me. Then came that morning, still, soft, and strangely freeing. There was no big moment, no tears, no anger. Just me sitting by the window, phone in hand, staring at an unsent message. I had written the same paragraph 3 times, trying to explain why I couldn't come, why I needed space, why I had changed. And suddenly, I just stopped. I looked at my reflection and whispered, "You don't have to keep doing this." It wasn't anger, it wasn't pride, it was peace. The kind that arrives quietly when you finally realize your heart doesn't owe everyone a presentation. That night, I didn't reply to a message. I didn't defend my silence. I didn't justify my absence. I just let things be. And for the first time in a long time, I slept peacefully. Because sometimes maturity isn't about what you say. It's about what you no longer feel the need to explain. I used to think peace meant being understood. That if I just explained myself well enough, people would finally see my heart. But the truth is, no amount of honesty can change a closed mind. And no explanation can convince someone who only listens to protect their version of the story. You are listening to the Mended Mirror, a space where we learn to see ourselves with compassion. So take a slow breath with me and let's continue to explore stories we can carry, remembering that every crack is proof of the light that found its way in, and every piece of a story is strength. So I started choosing silence. At first, it felt strange, like an unfamiliar kind of freedom. almost like loneliness. But as the days passed, I realized it wasn't loneliness. It was clarity. It was me coming back to myself. Because peace doesn't always come wrapped in understanding. Sometimes it comes wrapped in quiet acceptance and in the gentle knowing that not everyone will see you clearly, and that's okay. So I stopped apologizing for who I was becoming. I stopped performing okayness for the comfort of others. I stopped explaining my need to rest, my love for solidity, my way of healing quietly. That's when I learned something sacred. That when you stop explaining yourself, you start listening to yourself. You begin to hear the voice you've drawn out while trying to be understood. And that voice, that calm, honest whisper inside, it tells you you were never meant to be understood by everyone. And that some people will only ever meet the version of you that fits their comfort. That some will only love you as long as you keep explaining your worth. But that's not love. That's control dressed as concern. So I let go of the need to explain, of the hunger to be seen by everyone, of the ache to be understood by those who are never really listening. And in that release, I found peace. Not loud, not celebrated, just quiet and steady. Like a deep breath I didn't know I was holding. So my dear, you that is listening in, sometimes peace begins where explanation ends. Silence isn't the absence of voice, it's the presence of self. It's the sound of coming home to the part of you that no longer begs to be understood. That no longer needs to translate its truth, and that no longer defends its softness. Because the right people don't need explanations. They feel your sincerity in your silence. They read your heart even when you say nothing. They understand your boundaries because they too honor theirs. So if you've been explaining yourself for far too long, this is your permission to stop. Not to close your heart, but to protect it. Not to become cold, but to finally rest in warmth that doesn't need approval. You don't own the world and explanation for your healing. You don't own yourself the grace to live it. You owe it to yourself to love yourself, to feel yourself, and to give yourself peace. Unapologetically, quietly, beautifully. And maybe that's what freedom really is. Not the absence of noise, but the presence of peace. I want to thank you for reflecting with me today. Remember, the goal isn't a perfect reflection, but a mended one. If you found value here, please kindly subscribe to the Mended Mirror for more journeys inward. Share this with someone who needs this reminder. I would love to hear from you. Let me know your thoughts in the comment. Until next time, keep seeing the strength in your story. Reflect on your journey, mend your spirit, and rise as your trustest self. Because through reflection, we find the pieces Through mending, we heal, and through healing, we rise.